Welcome to Thriving Rockstar with Alex Rakin. Today, I have Casey Grillo here, former drummer of Kamelot and currently with Queensrÿche. What else are you up to right now?
I've been recording some stuff for a video game. It's going to be out probably either, I'm guessing at the end of this year or next year. I'm not sure when the launch date is on it, but it's called The Birdcage. Excuse me. So that's kind of what's going on with that. But I've been touring with Queensrÿche. Actually, they're touring what they're calling their touring drummer. I've been doing that for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years on April 1st, April Fool's Day. So I thought they were playing a joke on me. Yeah, learn all these songs that show up here, and then you're not here. You're not supposed to be here. But anyway,
that's funny. Yeah, through the video game. I got to hear more about that. What's going on there? Well,
it's a company out of Israel, and they're basically they approached me probably about 3 years ago, or maybe three or 4 years ago, and they had this idea of doing it, and I was like, yeah, sure. And there's a bunch of other guys in there. The bass player from Epica is in there. I think the old drummer from Evanescence is playing guitar on it. I believe that's who. So yeah, there's a bunch of bigger artists that are playing. So it's kind of a metal. It's like a metal record that's being released as a video game. So they're trying to think new ways of releasing records now. So, but it's going to be on I believe Xbox, PlayStation, all the big platforms. So,
is the music?
I don't know what. Sorry.
Yeah, you were going to say you don't know.
I don't know if I don't know how the game's going to be set up. I mean, I think it's basically I don't know if it's a shoot 'em up kind of game or what it is, or if what you have to do in the game. So I haven't seen much of that part yet. Just mostly the music, and I'm about halfway done recording with the music, and it's pretty involved. It's a lot of double bass, a lot of old style metal, and newer styles too, like kind of funky stuff, and there's a lot of progressive stuff in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it gets some of the songs. There's a couple songs that are like really long, like 18 minutes, because if you think about it, you're in a video game,
right?
So it doesn't really repeat itself, and I get it makes so sense. It's kind of it's super cool. I mean, the music's great, and so.
What I had imagined they would do is like they would take the piece and, as it turns out, and kind of like build scenes in the game around it.
I'm sure they had. Yeah, he's had the music written for a while now, so
I see.
I think that's what I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing now. And he's kind of, I think he does a lot of stuff in the gaming industry anyway. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out, and how it's exciting. It's fun to do. It's stuff I've never thought I would be doing at this point, but it's pretty cool.
You never know where you end up these days.
Anything to make $1. Yeah,
that's right.
It's pretty much I'll play anywhere for $1.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's where we're at this point. Yeah. So music industry has gone in many different directions, and that's definitely a big one. Video game music was exclusive to kind of the Japanese for a while, and then we, now it's a global thing.
Yep, absolutely.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I think actually Queensrÿche had the idea. I think it was Promised Land. They did a video game. It was back before, I think maybe Nintendo was out or something. So this was a few years ago. But and I had it. I remember having it. It was a computer game. So you had to go unlock these special things, and it was, I remember that. I don't even know if you could get that anymore for PC. I don't know. You probably wouldn't even work on it. So
Do you game?
No, I used to a long time ago when my kids were younger, and we used to play, Guitar Hero and Rock Band, I think was what it was, with the drums. Right. And I'd always lose because I couldn't play to the darn, it's like, it's wrong. I'm like, what? My kids are like, what are you doing? I go, it's wrong. The song's wrong. The parts are wrong, So, but, yeah, but.
Can't improvise in those games.
No, you can't. So I really kind of, I haven't played games in so long, so. But,
I hear you, man. I mean, they're a huge time sink. My my bass player basically banned me from playing games. Like, because I get too into it. Like, I go deep.
The thing for me is, like, if I'm not making money doing something, if I'm sitting there for that long time and playing a game for 3-4 hours, there's kids that play forever, and I'm not making, and this is the way I explain it to my kids. If you're not making money or learning another program, why are you doing this?
You know, it's funny. I teach guitar, and I say the same thing. You know, I have these kids who are really into what's that game that's hot right now? The game where you fall out of the sky. I should know this. Fortnite.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a very popular kind of first person shooter where it's just like open world, but it's highly addictive. Kids are really into it, and I used to be into other games, but the problem with gaming excessively is like, and I this is what I voice to the kids. You get really good at doing this game, right? Like at this game or whatever, but then a few years later, the game no longer has any relevance and people move on to another game. So all the time you spent is like totally for nothing.
I mean, you learn hand-eye coordination or whatever.
Sure.
I mean, that's,
Yeah, there are benefits like that. Yeah. And I wouldn't take that away, but I would tell the student, like, you know, this guitar game, which, you know, they're sitting in front of me, maybe their parents had, like, you know, said, oh, you got to, you know, practice or whatever, and they can't, like, see the end of the light at the end of the tunnel because they get such instant gratification from their game.
Right.
That, like, when you get good at this game, not only is it going to be fun, but you could take the skill and make money from it and use it for a lifetime.
Right. I mean, it's crazy. It's to see a kid sit there for 4 hours on at a TV playing a game or whatever, and then, you know, like you said, you have nothing to show for it at the end of the day except you can play this game, you know. Unless you're like a game tester or something, you know, that'd be kind of cool. That's probably a good job.
There are elite gamers that actually get paid, like competition level. But that's like the level of gaming that's at, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
I can't imagine it being worth the time spent. And you know, the games are limited in their time span, you know, so it's like, it's what it is.
Yeah, but if you're going to spend that much time, and why couldn't you spend it? If you want to be a guitar player or want to be a drummer or bass player or any kind of singer or whatever, take the time and spend your 3 or 4 hours on that.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my thing with my kids. I told them, I said, look, and at the time, I think I was learning how to run a video program because I wanted to do some video stuff. I ended up doing a lot of different videos for people, but and I was trying to learn that. So they're like, "Hey, play this game." I was like, "No, I want to learn this, you know, because I'm going to make money at this thing, you know, eventually, you know." And so I said, learning a program is almost like playing a game, you know. Yeah. So, and I treated it like that, and they were like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool." Now they. You know, one of them works for Microsoft, and
wonderful.
So you know, he does some stuff for them, and which, you know, I guess the game, they're, you know, always being on a computer kind of helped him, you know, and the other one's selling medical supplies, but, you know, they're both doing really well with that. But so they don't play games anymore.
Oh yeah.
So, but anyway.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. To change gears a bit, like we met at NAMM, and you told me you were up to that video drumhead thing, and I found that fascinating. So the video drumhead thing, we're gonna actually use that on the U.S. run that's coming up, and pretty much, let's see. I think we start our first real gig is on the 2nd, and that's when I'll be using it. So, but I kind of had this idea quite a while ago. I was approached by an artist that I endorse, and they had asked me if, you know, I could do something like a video head thing, and I was like, I don't know, you know. So I went and did some research, and I found a guy who was friends with Queensrÿche that was, you know, in the LED stuff, and he's a big guy that does, you know, has big LED video screens and stuff. He leases them out to big companies and, you know, bands or whatever. And so I talked to him about it,
he had a company that was making them for him, and he had some inventions that he had done, and I told him about my thing, and he's a drummer too, so it kind of worked that way. And then that's how it started, you know, and just like everything else, like when I've done LED stuff before. I did the Kiss drum heads that light up, the LEDs that light up,
right.
And you know, it was they came to me asking, you know, hey, can you do something like this other drummer that I'd done some work for, which was Korn, and they had like a reflector drum head. So they saw that head and they said, can you do one of those for us? And I'm like, well, you guys are Kiss, you know, like you guys like a lot of bright lights and fire and everything. I can't make a drum head out of fire, but what about some LEDs, you know, just like the old Kiss logo with the lights, you know? And I'm like, yeah, can you do that? I go, how much time? We only had like a month and a half, 2 months. I'm like, well, what's the budget? And they're like, well, we're Kiss. There is no budget. So I was like, okay, cool, let's go. And so I had a couple guys that are friends and partners of mine. One of them owns a drum. He makes his own drums and owns a drum company called Whack Drums. And the other one was managing a store, music store. And we kind of sat around and went, okay, how can we get this thing to work? And we did a bunch of different things at first, and it wasn't working. Finally figured out how we're going to do it. And I mean, we actually did catch the drum head on fire because Kiss one of the brightest LEDs we could get. So, and you know, which were super expensive. It's the most expensive drum head ever made. Like,
how much was it?
Not ever sold. I can't really say, but it. I mean, I know the most expensive drum head ever sold was, I think, Ringo Starr's The Beatles head, and I think that was like $1 million. It wasn't $1 million, so you know, but the drum had to be created, and you know, for modern times, not like you know, like an autograph thing or anything. So that it was super expensive, and they've got like 10 of them.
Still in prototyping, it's like, you know.
Yeah. Well, we kind of just went for it, you know, and they were all kind of prototypes. But all handmade, and I guess they're still working today. They're not using them on the current tour, but you know, that's all good. So yeah.
So that's very interesting that you found yourself in this world of making video drum heads for people.
Yep. I mean, well, now the video heads, I've only used them myself. These are pretty much the prototypes that that we built to see if they would work. I did take them on a Scorpions run with Queensrÿche, and they work great. So now it's going back and trying to figure out how to make it to where I think we're eventually going to sell it, but it's just got to be made where we can sell it, because these are these are actually the most expensive heads I've ever made. So it's like even probably double the price of what the Kiss heads were. So it's kind of like, all right, now nobody's going to, not the normal person's going to be able to buy these things.
Sure.
And that's the problem. And I think everybody that's asking me for them, they want to buy them. I'm like, it's not. Well, it's almost like the price of a car.
I get that. And here's the thing. I mean, like, there are artists now, since you've had some artists at the top essentially ask for these, you probably have, you're working at that tier, kind of like where Elon Musk, when he started Tesla, he really started with the supercar, and then he worked his way down as he was able to make the parts cheaper and so forth. I think that's probably where your market lies.
Yeah, I think the future is gonna happen, because it just, everything kind of comes down in price as it keeps going. Yes. So I mean, it probably won't be a high def drum head.
Sure. Which
I didn't make it out of a high def head to start with, because it's so much more money. It's like double the price.
Sure.
The smaller it goes. But now I think we're starting to get around to where we can make the high def stuff, and we'll lease those to like the Gaga and all these other artists that the pop artists that are going to need it or want it.
You eventually want to take this public?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll throw it out to probably have a cheaper version and more inexpensive version
Sure.
that would, suit for, I don't know if the local band could handle it, but maybe
Right.
a small touring act or something.
I think maybe give it like, I don't know, maybe 10 years if that's.
Yeah. 10 years or something else will be out.
Yeah.
They won't even have, they won't even have drums. It'll just be like, you just play in air. They already have that,
They do have that. I seen that in NAMM. This kid was like, it was swinging drumsticks and you heard the sound. Yeah.
And it videos you like it tracks good too. I mean, I played it.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Technology is going to enable a lot of interesting innovations like that.
Yep.
I think it's our responsibility as artists to kind of to see these opportunities like you did and jump on that. You had a little bit of ways in and you hit it when it was hot, like you seen the opportunity and you went for it. So that's a very cool thing. How do you keep yourself productive? Like how do you what's your daily routine look like?
It changes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, lately it's been practice, for trying to get ready for these touring dates. So, we've changed, or the Queensrÿche changed the set list quite a bit. So, I can't really tell you what the songs are going to be, but I had to go and learn a lot of songs.
They have a
there's
catalog.
a bunch of, they have a bunch of songs that are just like, here's some of the older songs. Mm-hmm. We'll eventually play these, and we'll put them in a set anytime, and that's, so I've kind of got to get my, keep my game up on that stuff.
How much do they change set list on tour?
Well, on this tour, it's from the past tours, it's quite a bit. It's changed a lot. But normally they would flip in a song here and there, and it was partially because I didn't know all the songs, it's like I was learning songs, as we kind of went,
Sure.
I had 8 days to learn the show. And,
wow.
Yeah.
How was that life?
That was like, that was a lot.
How do you handle something like that? You get the news and then what do you do?
Yeah. Well, I basically, I practiced 8-10 hours a day. So I just kind of went like 2 hours at each, as many songs as I get done in a day. Mm-hmm. What was it? I did 2 hours. I think I got 4 songs done or 4 songs within 2 hours of each song, going over the song. You can learn a lot in a song. It's a lot of the stuff I'd heard before, I knew. Right. I mean, Jet City Woman and all these songs.
Sure.
But I never dissected them and listened to them and, like going, I didn't even know there's this weird count right here for some reason. And I never noticed it before, but now I'm playing it.
It just blends in. Yeah. Wow.
That was a lot of work.
You did it like in chunks, like where you sat down for a few hours and then your mind goes numb. You go do something else.
Oh no, I just sat in there 8 hours a day. I mean, I treated it like a job. Took breaks whenever I had to, but
coffee.
Probably a lot of coffee and a lot, just going for it. You turn the phone off, so nobody calls. And
did you eat in any kind of specific way during something like that?
I did like, I did a lot of like Chinese food, was just down the street. Anything close around was like, all right.
What's your choice from Chinese food? Like,
it was like some kind of, what was it? It was garlic shrimp, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it was pretty good.
Nice.
But
where was this? Like, what city was this in?
Tampa.
Yeah. How was that there? The Chinese.
It was
food?
great. Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's a good little Chinese place. Nothing major, but
Cool.
But
on that topic, like, how do you eat? Like, do you have any specific philosophies around food?
Well, for me, my wife and I have been pescatarians for the last 5-6 years.
Oh wow!
So we haven't eaten like meat in 5 or 6. I think it's 6 years coming up.
Sure.
And that's what I do. I pretty much eat. I don't eat fish. If I eat any kind of meat, it's going to be a fish. Sometimes I don't. I try to take the vegetarian, option out of it because I don't want to eat too much fish. But
For the
yeah,
mercury
so
reasons or what?
yeah, that, and pretty much, try to watch the mercury in it. But so I've been kind of doing that and leaning towards more veggie than anything. So
What's led you to even make that choice to go pescatarian?
just more of a health thing and animal, you know, like the stuff that happens to animals during, when they get slaughtered and stuff. Most people are like, that's what this is for, and we're carnivores and all this stuff. And I mean, I grew up hunting. When I was a kid, I used to hunt.
How about
And
fish?
a lot. Yeah, fished. Fished a lot, and I can't do it anymore. I own fish. I got a koi pond, and I mean, they come up right in my hand, and like, it's hard. It's actually hard for me to eat fish when I think about them. It's like, but
I think it's hard for us to eat something after we've developed some kind of relationship to it.
Yeah, it's like a pig.
We have to disassociate ourselves or something.
Yeah, and a lot of people they do that, and they're like, not a problem. Look at a Cali and eat a hamburger. But for me, I was like, I've seen a lot of videos and stuff, and I mean, and I'm not one to be like, oh well, try to change somebody. I could sit there and eat when somebody eating a steak right next to me. It doesn't bother me. It's not a big deal. Sure. But I mean, when somebody asks me, like, well, it's gonna, or ask why would you do that and become a vegetarian or pescatarian? I'm like, because of the animal reasons. They're like, well, they're gonna die anyway or whatever. And I'm like, well, have you ever really? And this is pretty bad. Like, I was talking to a chef about it. I'm like, have you ever killed an animal? Have you ever had to take a life and then, because he's a chef and he's like doing all this, cooking and, prep and stuff. And he's like, no, I never did that. I go, it might change your thought about eating food, actually, to do that,
Sure.
And you respect it. You respect it a lot more. For me, I did anyway. So, but I mean, that's how we grew up. I was pretty much in a poor family, and maybe either hunt and got food, or you just didn't eat.
Sure,
so I would definitely eat.
Wow. Joe Rogan talks a lot about hunting because he's a big fan of that.
Yeah.
And he about respecting the animal and stuff. He eats steaks and stuff, but because there's some apparently some health benefits to doing that, right? Of course, from a healthy animal and all of that. I think he hunts his own meat. So, I mean, but who's, sitting around doing that, like that, you need a guy, you need to have the time on your hands for that kind of thing.
Yeah. Most people wouldn't be able to kill an animal and eat it.
No.
It takes a special, you have to be kind of brought up in that world, I couldn't do it now.
Right.
Not even.
You're too far removed.
I'm way far removed from it.
Let me ask you this. Do you have the data maybe before you went pescatarian, like what your stats looked like, and recently, or you don't go to the doctor too much?
I didn't know, unfortunately not, but I didn't think about I thought maybe I'll try this for a couple weeks and and it just kept going. It wasn't like, I feel better. Mm-hmm. I mean, my wife actually, she feels better. I mean, it's,
Awesome.
Yeah. So, but I mean, doesn't really. I wish I did have the data. I think I've gained a little weight because I probably eat more carbs now than I ever did. Mm-hmm. And I try to watch that. It's like it's really hard, to not eat fries. But, I love potatoes and bread. And,
I hear that. It's hard stuff to let go of. I normally don't eat carbs. I'm mostly keto, and
right.
But I was just on Cruise to the Edge. Which was awesome. By the way,
cool.
I literally just flew in this morning from Tampa.
Cool.
And but the carbs can those can creep up on you.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I spoke to Petrucci about how he eats on tour, and he was telling me him and Mangini were doing like a low carb thing last tour. They gave that a shot. That worked out pretty well. They lost some weight.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but it's an interesting thing. When you're on tour, what do you get? Like, what do you have? Same, you kind of keep it pescatarian?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. I haven't I really haven't even eaten any meat like
Sure.
that I know of. If something got
Right.
slid in somehow,
Got it.
But it's been 6 years, so always pescatarian. Or if there's no fish option, I'll just eat.
So when you are, do you like do a breakfast, lunch, and dinner? What's your eating habit look like?
Well, yeah, no. I'll wake up probably around 10.
Got it.
Usually, sometimes a little earlier, but I won't eat till probably about noon or 1 o'clock, and then I eat about twice a day, and that's really it. And I'll eat a dinner, like a later dinner, probably around 7 or 8.
Okay.
So, but yeah, for me, it's like I've never really been I don't do the breakfast thing because I just don't wake up that early.
Right. Well, that's interesting. So, yeah, there's good data showing eating twice a day or not eating immediately in the morning could have hormonal benefits, like intermittent fasting. You've heard of that?
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. It's IF is a really cool thing in the fitness and health world. Fasting has shown a lot of benefits.
The fasting, and I even heard somebody told me that if they ate at 6 or 7 at night, they don't eat again until noon the next day.
Sure.
Like what I kind of do.
Yeah.
Then it's actually pretty. It's almost like fasting a little bit.
That is.
It's a ways from it.
Right. Yeah. That's what intermittent fasting is. People fast from 16 to say 20 hours a day. So they eat their food within 4 to 8 hours, and you get your bad cells get eaten up. And so apparently it prevents cancer and things like this. Some research showing, so it's really good, and also keeps some weight off. Yeah, it's a great way of eating. I mean, Europeans stop eating at a certain time, 6 p.m. So there's a lot of good data and large scale data and studies done on this stuff at this point. So that's pretty cool. But when you're on tour, though, it's a different story,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it can be not as good food, obviously I'll eat more fried stuff and, that's always bad, but sandwiches and cheese sandwiches and whatever else is on,
Okay. So dairy is still in the picture, right?
Yeah. Dairy. Yeah. I still do dairy.
Oh, it's hard to let go.
Yeah, it is. But I've been trying, I've actually kind of cut back. If I'll do almond milk and stuff like that. I haven't really had milk in so long. It's just something I kind of cut out a long time ago. So
yeah, I don't know. It makes me sleepy.
Yeah,
milk in particular. I think the lactose just puts me out.
Yep.
That's very interesting. Yeah. So as far as to go back to your productivity, what do you what are some habits that you employ to kind of keep you going, to keep the wheels turning and keep you productive?
Well, the habits, I don't know, or my daily routine and stuff that I do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much I take care of the drumhead orders, I figure out what's going on with that, and then, kind of point the right people in the right direction to get that stuff going, so, I try to do that when I first wake up, if I'm just waking up and going through the phone and emails and whatever. So I figured, okay, I'll work on that for an hour, and then that gets me motivated and doing the other stuff. And then I try to fit, the rehearsal. And I was going pretty good, probably about 3 hours a day. Now I'm just going through the set once, and being done with it. And that's, that always keeps me going too. It's just maintenance, just keeping, because we haven't even rehearsed all together yet with it. So that's going to happen this week, actually, coming up. Cool. So it'll be interesting to see how I did without having anybody around. Right. But, that keeps me kind of going, I think. And I mean, just getting the last minute stuff with the heads is always one to start a fire underneath me, because it's always, who was it? Last week, somebody needed a drum. I think it was Eminem and Nicki Minaj. They needed something like right away, like because they were leaving for a European tour or something.
Last minute, huh?
And yeah, last minute thing. So that kind of starts a fire. It's like, all right, design, shooting stuff back and forth, trying to get a right design on it. And I think Mariah Carey's this week or something. So it's like always, there's always that person.
You got
Plus
your
all
work.
yeah. So I've got those people I have to deal with, and then I have small, like the local artist or just regular people that I would say regular people, but drummers that want drum heads. So it's always like, and those are they'll let me give them a little time. I can make those within a couple weeks and they're fine, but it's always the last minute artist. And I know I think the Grammys and the Oscars are coming up, and that's always a last minute thing.
Right.
And I think those are coming up pretty soon. So I'll be like sitting there and I know I'm going to get hit with a bunch of emails going, I need this drum head right now. And like, okay, let's go.
How often are people last minute with these things?
All the time.
Yeah.
I've had somebody go, J-Lo actually, on Saturday Night Live. She'll go on Saturday Night Live. I'll get a call on Thursday from her a personal assistant or somebody that's like a manager or whatever. And they're like, hey, we're here in New York and the drummer somebody forgot the drum head. Can you make one and send it out, send it up to us. And like, so I have to do that.
Wow.
I already know what they want. So
Sure.
I'll just make it overnight on Friday. They get it Saturday.
Wow.
So, yeah, it can be crazy.
That's pretty crazy. How do you manage doing that and being like touring with Queensrÿche?
Well, if I'm not in town, I have a buddy that does it.
Got it.
My partner, he'll do everything. So.
Got it. And it's just how big is this operation? How many? Like it's just one guy, or it's like
just a couple.
Just a couple.
We have two. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a small business, but it keeps going.
Wow. How long do you think you can operate at that level before you need to like hire a bunch of people?
Well, I think what's going to happen within the next year is what I was wanting to do this year was have a place open, like do a small, not like a, it won't be like a storefront. It would just be like an office where I go there, have a couple employees working there, and just doing it that way. Right now, I'm just kind of I throw it, I do it in my place, and then if I'm out of town and we need to, I'll use like another guy that has the same equipment I have, and he'll get it printed up and everything, and my buddy puts everything together. So
yeah, I mean, you have your clientele set. I don't think you really need like a brick and mortar.
No. There's nobody's going to walk in off the street wanting a drum head, So
no reason for that.
I mean, what I'll probably end up doing is doing more. It'll be basically a print shop. I'll do more, local stuff. Like I can print for whatever, if they want stickers and banners or something, whatever they want, So
interesting.
like window stickers and stuff like that. So I can. That'll actually keep the flow, because sometimes there is some months that are slow in the drumhead business. It's like Christmas time is pretty slow. Actually, January, February, it's been slow. Because of like usually, a lot of times the Super Bowl happens, and I didn't do this Super Bowl, but I've done a few of them. So when that happens, it's like last minute. It's always last minute. So, and they always want something outrageous. But so I mean, once I go out on the road, it's gonna, it's hard to juggle things around. But I've got good people in the right place that help me out. So.
Yeah, man, it's pretty. It's a lot on your plate at that point. Do you have a spiritual practice? Very off question.
No. Yeah.
Do you meditate?
No, I don't do anything like that. Just
do you have a muse?
No, I'm pretty much. I don't really believe in anything, so it's kind of like growing up, my my uncle was a Pentecostal preacher, so I witnessed a lot of crazy church going things that would happen, like speaking in tongues and all kinds of stuff.
Holy water.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not. I just don't really believe in anything at this time. You know,
It never creeps up. Nothing.
No.
No.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not like. Yeah, just nothing for me. So
okay. So like questions, getting on the personal a little bit. Like emotionally, like you know, we all kind of fall into some ruts and stuff. How do you deal with like some of the more nastier emotions?
Well, I mean, like depression and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you get depressed?
Not really. I mean, I'm too busy to really get depressed.
Good point.
I think I was talking to somebody today about like how if you get into a rut and you're around somebody that's very negative, you know, if it's like and they're just like always negative, it's going to bring you down. You're going to be negative with them.
Right.
So I surround myself with people that are not like that. You know, it's like they don't say I can't. They say, okay, I can do this. And I've kind of tried to be more that way now, you know, like, and I think, you know, because negativity will bring you down anyway. Like it'll depress the hell out of you. And I think that's, I mean, I've gotten there. There'll be days like every now and then it'll be like kind of in a funk or something. But, I mean, just the people that surround me will slap me out of it. And that's
awesome.
kind of, and I think that's, and it's, and I have friends that are depressed, you know, they have depression and stuff, and it's hard to, it's almost like it's an illness. It's not really something you can control. A lot of people can't control it. So, I think my mom was a psychiatrist, so she actually would, like, not that she would teach me ways to get out of stuff like that, but she had a way of teaching me without me knowing about it, you know, and it would be like, you know, there's always tomorrow, and things always change, you know, like things will happen to you today that you might think it's the end of the world, and then like tomorrow you get a different phone call, you know, and you never know.
Do you get trolled online, and how do you deal with that?
Oh, it's not. Yeah, I mean, I get trolled, and
do you look at
know, yeah, it's kind of funny sometimes. All right, so like, this is gonna be a roundabout way to this question and how I deal with it, but I did a video for I did like this drum video for a buddy of mine, Ray Luzier. He's a drummer for Korn.
Yeah,
and I've got it posted on my YouTube channel, so I see all the stuff that comes in there, like, and believe it or not, he's, you know, people are even trolling him, and it's like, I'm like, how can you say the things you say about this amazing, they're like one of my favorite drummers ever, you know, like this guy's crazy great. Yeah. Ray's just a monster. I love him, and he's a great friend too, and you know, and he endorses my product, but he's just a really great person. And I was like, how do you, he goes, you're not going to please everybody, obviously, right. You know, these are like, most of them are like somebody that they have to leash out on something because something in their life's not going good. Maybe they can't play, and they, you know, as good as, you know, obviously you're doing. He's like, I'm not the best drummer, you know, obviously we're different, you know, different drummers, you know. He's like, you know, there's stuff that you can do I can't do, and, you know, vice versa. Like, we're all in this together. And then you got some kid or some old guy or whoever it is that, you know, probably a nun that's sitting there typing, "Yeah, you suck," you know, whatever. And right. it's they're voicing they're voicing it, and I think they really get off on how much people they can get fighting against them. You know, they get them in a little argument online or whatever. For me, it's like, all right, yeah, somebody said one time I couldn't play myself out of a wet paper bag. And I thought, that's so good. I've got to use that somewhere. But I'm not that mean. I could never do it. Like, it's so bad, man. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. I mean, like, wow. Like, if I had drumsticks in a wet paper bag, I couldn't play myself out of it. So that was a pretty bad one. I mean, after that one, I was like, man, go ahead, say anything you want. I don't care.
But some people, they seek to like really like,
Oh, I know.
They plot, like they'll go
Yeah.
deep. They'll go deep.
Yeah. I mean, I because of my situation now, what I'm doing, because I'm playing in a band that's had a drummer for 36 years, and he never missed a day. Never missed a day, and he had his girlfriend had a baby, and he wanted to take some time off, and he's enjoying his time off. So I get people that are like, it's not, I'm not going to go see it till Scott comes back, or this guy's not any good. Actually, I really haven't seen anybody say that, but most of the times there's somebody always on the back end saying something nice. So I'll read the nice stuff instead of the crappy stuff.
I think trolling only accounts for like a small percent, but it's a loud small percent.
Yeah.
And you just have to constructive criticism is constructive criticism, and there's a good place for that. But yeah.
I mean, I'm not. If I'm not paying you to teach me how to do something, why are you going to tell me how to do it online? Why are you going to tell me you suck? And like, I can pay somebody to tell me that. I mean, really.
Right.
So, but I just deal with it. I mean, I see other people get hit a lot harder than I have. Like with the trollers. So it's like, it's like, I mean, whatever, gonna do,
Yeah, people
they can say what they want.
Some people are more susceptible. Some people are like, they care more what people think.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I am that way,
sure.
But it's like, it would be if they told me to my face, then that would hurt.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of these people would never say the stuff to your face. They hide behind their keyboard, and they're keyboard warriors.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's mostly they're trying to get other people to come back on the feed and have something negative to say about them, and then they have fight. I don't know. It's like one of those things.
They feed off of it. It's an addictive thing to those negative emotions, and you've shut out people like that in your life in person, and so it's not any different probably for you online.
Man, it's like when I like going back to the video game thing. When you're sitting there and all you do all day long is sit there and you're typing negative stuff about other people that you don't even know. You don't even know this person.
No.
It's like, you could, anyway, it's like one of those things, but I would sit there and learn how to do something on the computer.
Some people
learn
get
a program.
Famous. Right, you're right. Some people get famous. Some people get infamous. Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, whatever.
Like
I mean,
if they
people.
It's resentfulness, and people go on trying to say something about you, and they're trying to get famous by talking shit.
Yep.
So
that's it. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, it's a sad way to be. So it's it's better not to engage with that, right?
No, I've sat there and I'll go, I could say this. And I it's like, whatever, just leave it,
right?
So
I get it. So, let's talk a little on relationships. You're in a relationship.
Yeah, I've been married for 22 years. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. March. Be March.
Wow.
So. Yeah.
And you have some kids.
Yep, stepkids, 2 stepkids.
2 stepkids. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How old were they when you?
5 and 7. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They were. One had just turned. Actually, the one had just turned 7, and the other one had turned 5 a few months before that. But yeah, they were little guys. Now they're grown up, and so we've been together for 24 years now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, but actually, the old one, the old one, he turns 31. He'll turn 31 tomorrow, actually. So,
wow.
Yeah. Yep.
So how has this relationship kind of shaped your music career? Like how has that changed you?
Well, I mean, I was playing when I came in it. I'd already, you know, uh, did did a lot of. Well, I'd probably already played. That was 24 years ago. I've been doing it for 31 years now. So,
Mm-hmm.
so like 7 years, I'd already been working, doing gigs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, it really hasn't changed. I mean, it's takes a special person to let somebody go do the things that I do.
Exactly. Right, right.
You
Which is what
know.
I'm interested in hearing, like how you dealt with distance and things like that. How she dealt with the
Uh,
distance and all that.
Sometimes I'll have her come out.
Yeah.
Fly out and see me or whatever. But she doesn't like the bus life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's I yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's not hard to deal with uh, that. Being away from each other. It's okay. It's not a big deal. So we get used to it.
Okay. Yeah, because that's an interesting thing when a musician's looking for a relationship that's like going in, it's like, I'm going to be gone like for
Yeah.
months at a time, right?
Yep.
So like did you go in with that to her and she's like,
No.
"Yeah, no?"
She
Where'd you
had
guys meet?
uh, at there was at a bar that she was working at and I was working at. I was playing at.
Oh, okay.
So she was tending. She was a beer tender. She had like a beer thing,
Cool.
and yeah. So then I basically saw her standing there when I was gigging that. I was on a break or something. We started dating like that, and we dated for like 2 years, and we got married. But
Okay.
we lived together for a couple of years.
That's
But
interesting.
now I kind of when I went in, just because the kids were there,
Yeah.
it's a little easier when I left because you know. Uh, she would be with the kids all the time.
Sure.
So then when the kids moved out, when they got older, it's a little bit harder because then you're by yourself all day.
Right.
Now we live in a big house and pretty much it's just us. So, but she's got her job and she does her stuff, so that keeps her busy.
Right.
So,
Her job
but
is more of like a local job.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But so it's been pretty, I mean, I'll go like this time now, I'll go for about a month, I think a little bit more than a month.
Hmm.
And it goes by pretty quick.
You guys stay in contact while you're out there?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like video or what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've done that in the past. Like we'll do like, like, uh, whatever
FaceTime, yeah.
yeah, FaceTime. There you
Yeah.
go. One of those things. I haven't done it so long, I forgot. But we'll do that, and then that actually feels like you see the person anyway.
Sure.
So it kind of helps. And she'll be out by the pool and showing me the cats and everybody and whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does pretty good when I'm gone. I think she gets more done when I'm gone than when I'm around, so which is okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you've built something really constructive there.
Yeah.
Because
She'll paint the house. Come back in the house and be a different color.
wow,
But
she really gets a lot done.
yeah. I'm like, go ahead, do anything you want. Build something in the back. I don't care.
Okay, I mean, I guess a musician's partner needs to be able to entertain themselves and stay busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not be like reliant on you emotionally 24/7.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a lot of musicians they need to be babysat anyway.
Oh God, yeah.
Because they're like, it's like they're, not even grown up, like,
Yeah.
most of these, I feel pretty young still. So, I mean, and I know the guys I play with, they're a little bit older than me, but they still act like kids. It's like,
Musicians
okay.
don't age, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, our bodies do, and you can feel it, breaking down, but
Only between sets.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Wow. But no kids of your own with her.
No,
Okay.
unfortunately not. No.
Yeah, that's all right. So that like, how was your upbringing? Like, how did your parents like engage you with like you got into music at an early age, I'm assuming, and How supportive were they of that and all that?
Well, my dad and mom got divorced when I was pretty young, like 6 months old. So
Sure.
my dad was out of the picture. He wasn't all the way out, but I would go see him or whatever. But my mom, my brother was a drummer. That's how it all started. My brother played drums, had a drum set, always had some kind of drums around the house. And my sister started playing drums as well. So I obviously started playing drums. It was the first thing I did. My mom used to, she would watch me play, and she could fall asleep, and I'd be sitting there wailing on drums. Like I don't know, maybe I'm the most boring drummer in the world to her, and she just fell asleep. But that was, yeah. I mean, she could just like fall, and I don't know why. She's just like, something about, she just loved it. She loved it. Then the cops would knock on the door, that kind of thing. So, yeah. I mean, she was a special person. She always taught me, if you believe in something, it'll happen. You can make stuff happen if you believe in it, enough. And she told me, she's always like, you go for it. I started touring when I was 16. She let me go out on tour. I mean, legitimately going across the U.S. I played with an artist by the name of Deborah DeJean. She was a top 40 artist back in the day, and had a record on CBS Records. Had a Grammy nomination.
How'd you land that?
This is a whole other story. I moved. My brother was living in Austin,
Sure.
and I'm from Oklahoma. And I went down there on a like a school vacation on like summer break, and I took my drums down there. Before I went on summer break, I had a friend that took some photos, did like a headshot, did like a cassette tape of me playing drums and whatever, and I went down there to try to get in a band.
Right.
And so I put my cassette. It was a cassette. I had a black and white photo. I think I copied it. I don't even think I didn't have any money to put into it. My brother took me around to these music stores. There was one as a drum shop. I put my whole packet up there, and my brother didn't have a phone number, didn't have a phone. So it was like, here's the address, like who's going to show up? Like who's going to see this and go, I can't call you. This is way before cell phones.
Right.
It's like, all right, well, I just got to go to this guy and, pick him up or something. So, I was sitting there watching Chips one day, like my brother was at work, and this guy comes rolling in, knocks on the door, and I'm watching Chips, and he's like, hey, I got your package. He goes, how old are you? I go, I'm 16. He goes, okay. He goes, can you really play what's on this tape? I'm like, yeah, that's me playing, and he goes, can you drive, or do you have a car? I go, no, I don't have a drum set here. Like, it was in an apartment, so I couldn't set it up and play it for him. Right. He's like, well, how about tomorrow I pick you up and take you to the house. We'll take your drums, set up, and we'll jam. I'm like, okay. And I had no idea who it was. Right. And when we were there, he said, well, if you want this gig, we got, you can have this gig. You're going to be on the road. Like, you're playing with this artist. And back then she wasn't really big anymore, but, still it was enough dates. So that's how I got it. The guy came out. It was weird. I mean, that never happened. And for me to like get in a car with somebody I don't even know, that was like, and I was from the sticks. So I had me a pocket knife, and I was going to defend myself in any way I could. So, but it's like, yeah. I mean, that was how that started. But my brother is really the whole reason why I even started playing drums. And,
Is he still playing?
No, he passed away a few years ago. So unfortunately, but he was a good old dude, So good drummer too.
Wow. So yeah, I'm sure when he was still with us, he was quite happy with you and what you've done.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he used to come to the shows. Yeah. My mom was super proud of me, same. My sister's still very proud. She comes out to the shows, and, it's just, it's pretty neat to be able to have her come out now, at least, and, come to a Queensrÿche show. And,
Sure. Now you say your dad was like somewhat involved at early on.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I would go over there and maybe spend the night with him every month or something, something like that.
Okay.
Wasn't like I would see him all the time. He didn't like want, take custody of me or, have to split the time or anything. It was just like whenever we could get there or whatever. So
did you feel like you ever really kind of built any kind of relationship with him, or?
Oh yeah. I still keep in touch with him today. Yeah. He used to be in oil fields, he used to do that, and then he became a truck driver. Now he's retired, but yeah, I'll call him, every week or every other week, see how he's doing. So, but yeah, it wasn't like I held a grudge. My mom was always, I had several stepdads, though. I had three stepdads. My mom was married 5 times, so I had 3 stepdads after, my dad, and not all of them so good, but that's probably why when I took the role of being a stepdad, I didn't do anything. The ones that I didn't like, I didn't do anything like. I learned from those guys. Now I didn't learn the bad way, which is usually what happens, and
you
beat your kids,
and you had like anti-influences.
Yeah. Well, my mom was always my, because most of the time it was her and I. So, I was always, she raised me. So I was raised by a woman. So I respect women more than anything. And, my kids are, which thank goodness I didn't beat them in any way, because they're way bigger than I am. They're like 6'5" and 6'4", and muscles, and, they just throw me around like nothing if I was mean. So, but they're my best friends, so
that's awesome.
But but that's kind of back to the drum thing. That's how it all started for me. It started with my brother playing.
Yeah, man. Like as far as your contribution, like going forward, you're making a mark with these drum heads, and I take it you're going to take that places. You're going to keep that going.
Yeah.
Like, just long term, what do you see yourself doing?
I'm still playing. I mean, I want to. I think I've got a few years going on, and I'm still healthy. My hands still feel pretty good, and but definitely as a business, I like to think of trying to make new product with the drum heads and keeping that interesting and keeping people, I'm just trying to stay ahead of one, I just stay ahead of it, try to invent something, so everybody's like, well, it's like reinventing the wheel, I mean, it is round, so it's almost like a wheel, but and most people would have never thought that you could do a video drum head on on this thing, or the different things that I've done. I've done a lot of firsts for drum heads, and I'm proud of that.
That's awesome.
And I mean, there's guys that know me at NAMM, like, they don't know I even play drums. They don't know anything about me other than that, and that I'm gonna make the drum heads for them and for their touring stuff, and wild? They love me for it, and I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I'm the drum head guy. It's like, I wish I was a little more known as playing drums, but I am in a way. But but
I think you'll get known increasingly as a drummer, just being more exposed to people. People will kind of know. But it's definitely a good thing, and as from a marketing perspective, you really you do drive traffic to yourself, your name, and and other things that you're up to. So it helps you kind of solidify legacy.
I don't push it too hard anymore. It's almost like, all right, I used to try, and I was like, you know what, it's look at the Facebook likes and go, okay, I want to get more and more. Like what am I trying to do in the end anyway? It's like, And now I look at it like, well, you got Facebook friends, and there's a lot of people that I know that are real friends. Then there's a lot of them I don't even know. I mean, I don't even see their posts because maybe they don't like my stuff and I don't like their stuff or whatever.
Sure.
So you don't even see those people out there.
No.
It's like they're just kind of sitting there and idle. I don't know what they're supposed to do for me eventually, but like something in some way, and it does happen. And unfortunately, sometimes for people when they need help, and they go out and they put out like a GoFundMe thing if they're in bad, health or whatever.
Right.
Then these people will step up, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of what that Facebook friend thing is. Even if you have one person donate $10, it helps. But so I don't know what this whole social media thing is, but it's kind of getting old.
Well, I
but I like it.
Yeah.
But as a business, it's cool. But like all the trolls, like going back to that, it gets old.
There's definitely a lot of negative elements to social media.
Yeah.
But what we have to accept is that it's our direct access to our audience, which we haven't had prior to, say, 10 years ago or something.
Right.
We have such a direct access and a relationship with our audience.
Right.
Where, we don't sell music anymore. You can't make much money selling actual albums. No. And so you're touring and then you do this business on the side. And the business that you do, the market that you have is your social media following.
Right.
Those are people who are bought into what you're doing and will buy what you put out. And so growing that audience is literally just growing the potential buyers of whatever you decide to make for them.
Yeah.
And you could make the most niche thing. Even just this podcast, it's emerging musicians who care about health and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's you find your little hole in the market and you fill it. So it's an interesting thing. I wanted to touch on a few big things we kind of brushed over slightly before closing up. I was curious about do you work out at all? Because I mean you're drumming, so you're constantly moving.
Yeah, I mean I used to work out quite a bit. I try to start back into it. I try to start running again.
Okay.
It's just hard. It's been a rough couple of weeks going through, trying to get everything ready for this tour and stuff. Sure. And I mean, the drumming is like definitely a workout.
Yeah, especially the way you drum.
Yeah. There's a doctor, Nadia Azar, I think is her last name. She's doing studies on this now, like how many calories are burnt playing drums and stuff. And she did one on me. I can't remember exactly how many it was. I can't remember how many calories I burned in, like playing drums through the whole. She's got a whole readout on it.
Wow.
But I think it's on my Facebook somewhere. But
I'll
she
put
did
that in the show notes.
Yeah. She did Mangini, and she's done a lot of different drummers now. And I've turned her on a couple people that I think would be great. Ray Luzier probably burns 1 million calories in one song. The way the guy moves. So, but. Yeah, I mean, just trying to, and that helps. I mean, definitely playing drums a lot, and I've been playing a lot lately. So, but I need to start again working out. I've just been, there's not a lot of time in the day, which sucks. But say that, but if I could spend 30 minutes a day would help.
Yeah, so I'm one of the things I do. I'm an artist health coach, right? And so I'm always kind of digging for this stuff. And drumming, I feel like there's a few aspects of fitness that need to be covered in some degree, right? So there's the strength, more like resistance training and things like that, for putting on some muscle. And then there's endurance and kind of cardio, like what you're doing drumming, essentially.
Right.
So that's pretty much covered by drums. And and then there's mobility, which is stretching, yoga, things like that.
Right.
Do you stretch?
Oh yeah, before I gig or before I even play, So I have to. That's pretty much. I usually stretch more than I do warm up. Like, if I'll get a pair of sticks and do some warm ups, but I do stretch like before I run or anything like that. Because I'm getting old, so I have to. I'll pull any, I'll just pull a muscle right out of out of the blue.
Yeah.
So
it gets much more important as you age.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, I'll definitely stretch my fingers. I stretch them all the time. I can feel like tense or tightening up, and But,
so I get you haven't been able to kind of put in too much, training during time when you're preparing for this tour. I mean, that's a lot of practice. So that's those are marathons.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to get into a routine like where I would practice for 3 or 4 hours. Run, do some push-ups and some stuff with some bands, arm bands and stuff.
Okay.
And then, but then the last couple of weeks have been shot. I did a little traveling, and after, before NAMM, and, so it's been kind of one of those, it's just been a mess.
In regards to bands, so you travel with bands on tour?
Yeah, I'll take them with me. Yeah. Yeah. I've got a couple sets that I take around. Now, if they get out of the suitcase, that's a different. This tour is going to be different, though. The singer and I have already talked about it. We're like, all right, we got it. He started working out already, so which is good. Yeah, so we're actually going to we'll probably try to do something during the day, before. And I just kind of worry. I used to worry more about like if I started running and I hadn't ran in a long time with Kamelot, I would not be able to play because there's a lot of double bass stuff going on in that stuff. So I would not be able to play a night after running for, even if I ran a mile, it would be like,
Right.
So if I wasn't, in tune with it and hadn't already been doing it for a while. So that was out of the, I used to run, but then when I stopped, and I was like, well, I'm not going to start running now if I have a Kamelot gig, because I wouldn't be able to play it. With the Queensrÿche stuff, because it's not as double bass and it's still physical, but not as physical as the Kamelot stuff. I'm not really worried about it. I could probably run and work out and still play up to par. So I'm not really worried about doing that. But I need to get started. Now you're making me do push-ups.
I hear you, man. I have to do something about this cruise weight that I built. I worked out like mad on that ship, though. Yeah, I did.
You're probably the only one.
I was frequently like one of the only people in that gym.
Yeah.
People were catching a show before every meal. I would not every meal, but I was in there twice a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should do that. I think I'll go in this time. I know on the metal cruises, that's the emptiest place in there. If you want to go be alone, just go to the gym. They're all drinking. Everybody's drinking. So
definitely. Yeah. So what's interesting? Do you have like a routine with the bands, or you kind of take them out when you feel like it on tour?
Take them out when I feel like it. I need to get a routine. That's the thing,
you can hit me up for that. I can give you some suggestions as to a good way to use those.
It's just like in the time of doing it, probably be right when I wake up, or I guess because the day gets pretty full with interviews and meet and greets and stuff like that. So I think if I started off early, I would be okay.
Right, and since if you do it early in the morning, everything you eat for the whole day is going to go to repairing those muscles rather than going around your waistline.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So, but I'll definitely take them out this time. Yeah. My wife got me a new set, so they're pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So, I'm interested. Like, how's your sleep patterns like?
I probably get about 6 hours a night, 6 to 7. It all depends. Yeah, it depends on. Because when I'm busy like this, my mind just keeps racing, and I know I don't have enough time in a day to do what I need to get done.
Right.
So I just wake up going, I got to do this, I got to do that, and so I'll just get up and start doing it, start working, but I don't get enough sleep. I know, but
who does it these days, right? It's
I think it's all right.
tough.
I think it's all right not to get. If you get too much, then you turn into aloof. So
yeah, sleep is definitely one of the most important things to kind of get right, I think.
yep.
Maybe there's people like entrepreneurs, claiming to sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. That's not sustainable.
Yep. But if they get something done, it's worth it.
Oh yeah,
I think.
yeah,
So.
yeah. It's all about like what the purpose is, right? What the the end goal is. So I wanted to. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to kind of share?
No, it's pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you've been granted like one message that all musicians can hear, what would you tell them?
One message.
One message that all musicians would be able to hear.
Man, it's kind of been my motto for a lot of years. Like what I would say is like, just shut up and play.
I like it.
No, nobody really wants to hear anybody complaining because they didn't get the right cymbal size, or something's not working or whatever. It's like, what, it could be worse. It's just I don't like. I just want to do it. I want to play, and that's it. Make the best out of it, and I've gone to places like South America, and we did some shows in India, or a show in India, and they give you the best they can. They give you the best they have, let's say, and because there's not a ton of music gear over there that's top notch stuff,
Right.
but they do their best and they're proud of it. Mm-hmm. And if you went over there and you're like, well, this sucks because I didn't get the right, just what, you just suck it in and go.
Shut up and play.
Shut up and play, man.
That's right.
That's it. That's what I've always said.
Awesome,
yeah.
Casey. It's been an honor, and we'll maybe have a part 2 at some point.
Absolutely.
But it's been great. Is there anywhere where can you be reached? What's your socials?
I'm Facebook, drummer Casey Grillo. Mm-hmm. I think it is on my official page, and the other one's full, so I don't know. But that, and Instagram, and I think there's a Twitter out there that's a link to something, but I never really get on it.
Sure. But you're not hard to find. Search Casey Grillo.
No, yeah. It's out there somewhere. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. All right, dude. Take it easy, and
thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Great talking to you, man.
All right, man. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.